This is a high table edition of Let's Talk Jonesboro. We have Mayor Harold Perrin with us today, and that's a special occasion. That's time to bring out the high top chairs. You know, it's summer again. We've got the usual summer stuff around here. Kids are swimming. Mosquitoes are getting ready to swarm. The snowball man's open. But the only bad news out of that is the mosquitoes. So tell us what the plans are and where we stand with our mosquito abatement right now.
I'll do that. As you know, the city of Jonesboro has a contract, and I visited with Jim Stark last week, and he told me, he said, you know, last year we did a great job in the fact that we started early. And what they mean by that is they're putting out the chemicals in some of the areas, particularly the rice fields, some of those things, so that we'll stop that in the early stages. So I think this year that we're going to have a much lower mosquito community, I'll use that word, in Jonesboro than we did last year, because I think that they're going to do that. The other thing that was very important, I think, is that we also doubled the number of aerial sprays that we did with our airplane. And so I think that's a big issue. That plus doing the early helped a great deal. So I think we're going to have a good summer.
Well, I hope with the fact that we had such a long winter, a short spring, I hope the mosquitoes are just confused enough to just go on over to, I don't want to push them on the next county, but somewhere else. We'll just say it that way.
Exactly.
Another thing that people can depend on in the summer is the jet buses. And I think if you have teenagers or even preteens, as long as there's a teenager riding with them, I think that the jet bus is a great way to get your kids around and get around with your kids. Sure,
you're right. And we even lower the price in summertime. And also this year we're now at 6 days a week instead of 5 days a week.
That's very true.
So that means that the kiddos can go shopping, do several things, go to movies and things of that nature, even on Saturday, which we think that's going to be a big benefit, especially for the kids.
Right.
It doesn't have transportation. It's not that age of driving at this time.
Right.
So we think that's going to work out real well.
And the rules are, as long as you have a 12-year-old, a 12-year-old can ride with anyone under 12 years old for a quarter each.
Right.
Or you can come to the municipal center and buy a $10 pass that'll last the kids all summer long. And I think if you ride your bike a lot and want to hook your bike onto the rack of the bus, you can ride for a quarter too. As long as it's not the Lime bike, they've already got their deal cut out, and you're supposed to pedal that.
Right.
But I think the jet is a good solution for a lot of kids that don't like being stuck at home during the summer. They can get to the pool, get to the parks, and get to, like you said, the stores and the mall and that kind of stuff.
And it's pretty good distance, you know, again, from our pool area to if they want to go to Joe Mack or Southside or things like that. So that's one of the reasons that we lower that price, so it allows the kids to do that.
Right. Now we are having to do some work at the Earl Bell Center, and that sucker's been around a little while and served a lot of people. But
that's right.
But tell us a little bit about the work that's being done there.
Well, we've been having the roof to leak. We thought it was the roof for years, and we've worked on that. But basically, what that was is that where the windows are, the metal that goes there before you put your bricks. Over the years, and I think that building was built somewhere around in the 1930s.
Yes.
In the fact that it absolutely had just deteriorated, and that's really where the leakage was coming from.
Well, did we just run out of buckets?
And well, we must have, because we had to take them buckets out, I guess, and put the new metal in, and then we also had to fix that up. So it's taken a little bit longer, and then when we got to the middle of the building, then all of that real nice architectural design, we want to keep the same.
Yeah.
So that's taken some time, but I will say the contractor on that job has done an incredible job of keeping things out of the way for the people coming in and out, making it safe.
Yeah.
And so my hat's off to that company, because they've just done a great job.
And we are on schedule.
Absolutely, we are definitely on schedule.
It's also code enforcement season. That's what I like to tell the guys in code enforcement. This is your season. I hope you've had your spring training and you're ready to go.
That's right.
Because what do people need to understand? Because sometimes it can be embarrassing or kind of maddening when you come home and see a code ticket on your door.
Well, you know, code enforcement is looking for several things. Of course, primarily in the summertime, the number one item is grass getting too high and people not being able to mow the yards. Well, the problem we've had in the last few weeks is that it's rained almost every day.
Right.
And so we understand that, and we're making sure with our code enforcement that we might give them a warning ticket or something like that, but no official ticket because of that. But the other thing that they look for is inoperable cars, parked in yards, unlawful storage, and several things like that. But right now it would be mostly, I'd say, the mowing part of it. But you got to understand that when they do that, would you want to live next door to somebody? You're keeping your place in a good, in a good
Right.
shape, and the other person's not. So we're just trying to make that fair and for the people. And I think the code enforcement's fair with their people. And I've had some calls to my office saying, hey, they just put a ticket on my door and it rained yesterday and I hadn't had a chance to mow my yard. Well, that's fine, but there's going to be a time you run out because we mow when it rains too,
Yeah.
on the bypass and things of that nature. So we try to be fair with everybody.
Right. And understanding if there's a special circumstance.
Right,
But,
absolutely.
But what basically can people? Is there a height? Is it like 12 inches on your grass? That's where you start getting in trouble.
Right.
Is it LeBron James's knee or my knee?
No, it's a cone that they have in the
Okay.
truck. Each truck has a cone, and I think you're right about the 12 inches, or I believe it's either 10 or 12. They just simply set that cone down, and not just in one area of the yard. They'll put it in 2 or 3 areas to make sure that it's above that, and then that's when they start writing a warning ticket.
Right.
And then if they don't get it done within a certain period, then they come back and check on that, because we have several code enforcement officers that are assigned different sections of town. So each person will cover the same section, so they pretty well know where those warning tickets are. They also have a laptop which will show you ownership of who owns the house or whatever. And so we have all the technology inside those trucks. And so just really what you do, just mow your yard and keep things not unlawful storage in the area, and you'll be fine.
That's right. I know that we have a STIP, and a lot of our work is being done at intersections.
Right.
And a STIP is a state transportation improvement project. And you did a fabulous job, and our grants department did a fabulous job getting, I guess, 9 or 10 to 1 payout. So we've got $90 million worth of work being done right now for our 8-point-something million
Right.
investment. And we know that includes overpasses for the railroads, which we'll get to in a second. But there's the intersections. Can you tell us where we stand on, like, Southwest Drive and Highland?
Yes, I just talked to them today. Southwest Drive in Highland is one of the big issues is that CWL would have to shut down a major, I'm going to call it a transfer station there, because of high use of air conditioning things in the summertime. Now, all the plans have been completed and been approved as far as the construction site. The other thing is right-of-way, working on right-of-way now acquisition. But I'm meeting with them next Friday, and they think they might be able to go ahead and get that started. So in talking to Scott Bennett today, the Executive Director of the Highway Department, RDOT, we think that within the next 60 days, we will have the commissioners to bid out the 18 highway, which is the overpass. We'll also bid out Highland and Caraway. And the one I wanted to bid out, it's not going to happen, and that's Highway 49 North. And that is because we're having to redesign some of that. We're probably going to make Parker 3 lanes all the way down to Cover House.
Okay.
And to take that flow out of there. So we had to make that change, and so it's going to take a little bit longer.
And that's Harrisburg Road.
That's correct.
Okay, right there.
And you're going to have a lot. You're going to see a lot of orange barrels in Jonesboro next year on big construction sites. And so, but I know your department will make sure and get it out on their Facebook website. Hey, this is going to be closed, or this is going to be 1 lane, or things of that nature.
That's
Because
right.
some of these are major intersections, and so we just got to tell the people that. And if they want to detour around, and the folks that live here know how to detour around, it's just people coming into our town.
Right.
So, but we'll make it safe for them while we're doing that.
Well, we've already completed some things that have made things easier for me on Red Wolf Drive, because
Right.
I like to use, a lot of people like to use Red Wolf Drive. And we've got right turn lanes. We've got dedicated right turn lanes that were put up in real fast order by our streets department.
You're right, and we've got more coming. And the fact that by the car wash on Highland and Red Wolf and Nettleton, we have that dedicated right turn lane, which was definitely stacking traffic up. On Stallings Lane, Stallings has become a connector between Caraway and Red Wolf, so we now have it to where you can get off and take a right off of Red Wolf if you're headed to the south, and then also if you're coming down Stallings and want to take a right and go down and, as I tell my wife, get a little ice cream. Now I don't have to go through two lights. I can just go right on down there and get that.
Take a right and get the ice cream.
That's right.
Very nice.
That's right. So then we have the one on Windover, which is 18,
Right.
and Ray Street, and that's going to be a major relief for that intersection because the people get confused when they pull up that if they're headed west on Race.
Right.
And so now we'll have the two going left, one going straight, and have a dedicated right turn lane to go back towards downtown area on Highway 1. So that's going to be a big relief. All we like now is having one company move their utilities. After that, we're ready to go.
Very good. Now, we've just passed, I think, the 2-year anniversary of a flood that took a semi-significant toll on a lot of our people. And I think we've taken a lot of steps in the 2 years since then. Can you talk about what we've done with our stormwater drainage to improve it? And I know that we live in a city that's basically a floodplain, so there's sometimes there's things you can't do, simply just can't change. But you have done some things that have made a difference.
Right. The big thing I think is that we now have a maintenance program, and we have that on the computer, so they know where those we call it hot spots. So when that flood occurred, we immediately went back and put on the map what we call the hot spots. So anything in that area, even a mile away, we go by and clean out all of those ditches and et cetera all the time to make sure that they're clean and they're clear and the water can go through there. So that's the big thing, I think. The other thing is that we have required a lot of retention ponds as people build in certain areas of town, which will hold that water. And so those two things alone. But you're right, Bill, we've got about 8 major ditches running into Jonesboro. And we're doing a study now with the Corps. And we're now in phase 2 of 4 phases. The first phase even called for over $110 million because it requires a 200-acre detention pond in North Jonesboro and another 50-acre pond out by Ridgefield Country Club. Now, when all that is done, we're going to go back to the public and say, all right, this is what the cost is, and here's the way we think we need to pay for it. So, and that's under our stormwater management program. But we're very lucky that no one else that I know of has flooded since then. Got close, but it hadn't flooded.
Right.
And so that's because we're cleaning out those ditches, making sure they're clean. And some of them we had to mop out and rechannel the ditches to make them wider and deeper.
And you bought new machinery to do as well, right?
Yes, sir. We bought two new excavators last year, and
they're expensive.
Yes, they are. But it's something that you just have to do because the people deserve it, and we certainly want to make sure that they don't flood.
You know, one thing America is dealing with, and Jonesboro is no exception, is a growing number of homeless. Yeah. Particularly when you become, as Jonesboro has, the hub of a region. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're down and out, you need to be around people, and I think we've seen that in Jonesboro, and we have not solved all our homeless problems, but I know you have some plans for some veterans that underway. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Be glad to. The property that we acquired through Wolverine, which was the old shoe factory, across the street was also some land that came with that gift. And we've looked at that, and then we've got it designed in the site plan to build 10 homes for the veterans. And there'll be two bedroom, and the rest of them will be single 1 bedroom. But also the Beck Pride unit from Arkansas State University will be signing a MOU with the city, Memorandum of Understanding, and they will man that and work with us, with the veterans, which they do now, but they explain to the veterans all the services they've got available to them. So this is a transitional home, and normally the max that anyone would stay there would be up to a year total. And so we're also looking at some additional land to build maybe 10 more. We were very successful in getting a verbal commitment on a grant that we'll be applying for, that those will be paid 100% by grants. So there'll be not one penny come out of general fund, because we already own the land, and then the cost of building those will be paid entirely by that grant. And so that's incredible, I think, to do that. And that ties in really to our hub that we started over on Union.
Right.
And that's where we're screening people, the homeless and things of that nature. So that's going to go pretty close to there. A lot of those people are veterans.
Right.
And so now we can bewail that. Now, on the big picture, what we were looking for is we're looking for a facility that could house the homeless. We looked at one deal that just didn't work out. Right. So now we're looking at other facilities in town. Once we find that, we've had several people in town said that they would be happy to contribute or make a major donation for the homeless. So right now we're in the process of just trying to find that particular facility in the right part of town.
Very good. Well, I know we won't give up on the homeless, and
we'll not.
And it's good that because there's a disproportionate number of veterans who are homeless because they served their country in hard times. So that's right. This is a real good start right here. Absolutely,
and it's kind of in between. I know you worked. Guess it's this last weekend on Memorial Day, mm-hmm. and when Danny Holland does a great job, and it's just real close to Veterans Day. Just coming up in November. So right. I'd give anything if we could find that facility between now and November, and at least have a location picked out and possibly purchased, and be ready to renovate that facility. It'd be fantastic.
That's a fabulous dream. I hope we can make it come true.
Right.
We've said in the past that downtown is key to any city's unique success, and I think we've worked on some lighting. We've had some partners downtown, some private business owners have worked on some lighting effects, and it's good for safety and just to make it look cool and attractive. But right. I think you've got some more plans. You got some more thoughts, at least, in mind of what we want to do. Can you tell us a little of what's in your head?
Be glad to. On the lighting part, we're doing a lighting study now on every parking lot the city owns, including even here at the municipal building, but primarily for those who would park and shop and go downtown at night to eat and things of that nature. So we want to make sure that's safe. And not only that, we call it the alleys that you're talking about. And some of our folks have been real gracious to put up little web lighting and stuff. The aesthetics is great, but it also lights up the area. But we want to make sure that all of our people can park and walk to downtown on Union and Main, and you will see the person, but you'll also know the person, and that's how bright it'll be. So we're meeting next Friday with our partners, and I hope that we come away from that meeting knowing exactly what we're going to do. But we will be going to LED lighting, very bright, for that area, low cost on electricity. And I think people's going to really, really enjoy that, and doesn't produce any heat.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about it.
Right.
And speaking of lighting, let's talk about some of the fun stuff. The Southside Softball Complex has lighting well enough. It's got some. It's lit in a way that it's never been before.
That's right. We spent $1 million this year putting in lighting. The Southside had never had what I call true sports lighting. It was lights that was put up at that time. They did a good job at that time many years ago, but they were not at the right angle. They wasn't bright enough for people in the outfield and the balls and things that night if you're playing at night. Well, now with $1 million with Musco Lighting, we've put 4 fields is done, and we've got a big tournament this weekend. And once that's over with, in July they're going to come back in and finish out the entire area. But across the street is what I like too, is that big parking lot. And so one of our partners donated the lighting for that area, And that whole parking lot now is well lit at night.
Yes.
And so next year we hope, if we have the money, to go ahead and pave that. And that's 410 parking places right across from those fields. When you get that done with the Miracle League field, with the lighting, the new concession stands we're building this year at Southside, you're going to see a major complex. Absolutely major complex.
It is major. It's if you lose your car now, it's not on us. It's on you. I'll be the guy that's lost out there. I'll be the guy that forgets where I parked my car. But you can see it when you walk out there. There's no question about that.
I had a guy tell me that you're going to light it up so much that when you get a snow cone, you better eat it fast. It may melt before you get the car. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway.
And it's worth testing. Tell me about that. We've got several big goals on several things, and one is bike pedestrian bridge and trail that we've talked about, and a lot of the people at Arkansas State as well as the cycling community are really excited about this.
Right, they've came together, and I think there's 2 or 3 groups, but they all work together, and they've come to the city about a year ago and said, you need a master plan. And so we studied that, and the council was very gracious enough to approve that. And that plan should be completed the 1st of August. And once we get that plan, then our goal is to go out and call on foundations to get the money to build these bike trails and those plans. And the prettiest one that I've seen so far been drawn is the connectivity between ASU and downtown. And it's one that way it's designed, you'll go under one railroad track, but you'll go over the other one on a bridge. All of that is lit in red LED lights. Absolutely gorgeous. Even has places to stop and rest in that area. The one coming from Craighead Forest is going to be blue. The one coming from Joe Mack Camel will be green. And all of these have been color-coded by different lightings. So can you imagine 3 to 5 years from now, if you can get all that done, how beautiful that would be?
That will be beautiful.
So, and it's going to be safety for our folks who, again, bicycle safety, I think, is one of the first things. We had, I think, a young man just this week get hit by a vehicle. And so, even though you have done a lot of work on bicycle safety and vehicular safety, and you've put it on Channel 24, we've done a lot of things. People just got to understand, you got to respect someone on a bicycle.
That's right.
And you can talk about road diet where you have a certain lane for bicycles. You put signs up all day long, but you and I have to just be aware of that as we're going down the road to make sure and yield for that bicycle, because they have the same right you and I do.
Right. And transportation is not just a gas engine concept.
That's right.
It's bicycles, it's pedestrians, it's everything, and we have to be respectful of those that don't have the cushion of a car.
That's right.
The other thing that makes me think that's going to renovate a neighborhood or two. We're going to renovate some neighborhoods or revitalize at least some neighborhoods.
Right.
When we have this connectivity through all the town.
I think you will. I think there's some people that's buying up property now, looking in the future, that, we call them the millenniums and things of that deal. But, folks want to have a nice facility. It doesn't have to be as large as people, they can get by with smaller square footage. But at the same time, they're close to work, where they work. They're close to, let's say, education. And what I've been told is they call it med and ed. And what that means is the 2 driving forces in Jonesboro today, in my opinion, is education and medical. And so that's what they're talking about, is that they're building those. And to give you an example, article I read last night, Johns Hopkins built these smaller homes for everyone who wanted to buy those that worked for Johns Hopkins Hospital.
Is that right?
Exactly. And so you're going to see, I think, a big trend on that maybe here, even in Jonesboro. So, but we're just growing 3% a year, and that's great. We just got to be ready to have those services for our people, and particularly infrastructure and safety. And not only that, we're the hub for Northeast Arkansas and Southeast Missouri. So people's going to come here. They're going to come to shop. They're going to come to doctors. They're going to come for education, retail. all of that. And so any given day, I'd say you have over 100,000 population in cars in this town.
Absolutely.
And so if we're growing at 3% a year, you can imagine what it's going to be like beyond 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of cars out there.
It's-
So we got to hurry up and
That's
get those
right.
orange barrels down and get it fixed so they can go through
so
there.
they can do it.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you know, another, I think, recreational thing that other people are excited about, some of them are the same ones, is the shooting range
Yeah.
that we've already broken ground on.
Right.
And we've still got some work to do,
Yep.
but it's going to be a reality. And
Oh, no question. Again, I talked to the Game and Fish yesterday, and the bids came in, and so we've got all the road. We know what that's going to cost. That contract will be given to the contractor. He'll be notified this week, today or tomorrow, and so we'll have that done. And then the big scheme of moving all the berms and building it up and et cetera will be the next phase. We anticipate to have that done probably the 1st of August. I would really like to have all the dirt work done out there before winter so we can at least seed it and have it that way, because we're not stopping. We still got the architects drawing the building, concession stands and all those things in the parking lot as you and I speak today. So that I want people to know that we're not slowing down at all, even though you don't see any movement out there yet. Now you will in a few weeks, because that road will be cut in. You'll see exactly what it looks like.
And of course, we also have some people who are interested in the aquatic center.
Yeah.
Now that is a little farther off, and it's a little harder to accomplish, but it's not something that's going away. We're
No.
still going to have an aquatic center.
That's right, and we definitely want to do that, and that's one of the reasons that we purchased the additional 82 acres next to Joe Mack Campbell. And then we also have the contract and the roads being built now going into that facility. Now, we also have just a schematic drawing, nothing on concrete, but schematic drawing on a true aquatic center. In addition to that, we've had several of the people with the Jets team, the coach, myself, and others that we have visited several cities to look at what we call the best practice within those facilities. And we want to do it right when we do it. And so, but that's probably 2 years down the road. I'd say at least 2 years down the road, because those things take a lot of money to build. But if we do it, we want to make sure we cover all sector of our citizenry. And what I mean by that is, we'll have the place of the seniors to go. We'll have the large enough area and retractable seatings that go out and come in for our state and district tournaments. We'll have another area, what's called you can rent for birthday parties. We do now on Nettleton, we rent that out almost every night for a birthday party. Now, can you imagine if we had that enclosed, what it would do?
Yeah.
And so, the best ones that I've seen so far was in Eben, Oklahoma.
Is that right?
And that was a beautiful facility. And they had their own restaurant inside. And then they had retractable seating for about 3,500 people to watch on district tournaments and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was all separated from the children and all separated from the other areas. So, and each entrance was color coded. So it depended on, you knew exactly what area you were going to.
Right.
And so it was a great deal. And the architects that we've hired are looking at those now.
Very good. Well, the last thing I want to ask you about is you've done more traveling this year than I think in the previous at least 2 years that I've been around, and you've done it in efforts to help find funding to supplement sales tax revenue and to get ideas on
Right.
ways to improve quality of life, safety, everything that's going to make Jonesboro a better place in the future and viable in the future.
Right.
Can you tell me some of your thoughts, some of the things that have really made impressions with you, and where you stand right now in your vision?
Well, yeah, I'll be glad to. The quality of life, I've always said that people ask me, when you get up every day, Mayor, what do you think about? First thing is safety, and the second thing is quality of life. And if you ever try to lose those, then you have a hard time gaining it back, if you ever get it back. So that's why we constantly look at our safety and quality of life. The trip to Greenville, South Carolina was incredible, because it showed us how they took a downtown area, and they did it overnight. It took them 20 years, but they got a plan, and they stayed right on target with that plan over that 20 years. And today they have 175 restaurants downtown. They have an amphitheater there, but some of the restaurants are built out the angle the way they did it to where you could have 4 restaurants. You could be sitting there and look at what's going on in the amphitheater. Absolutely right? Incredible. They have a minor league baseball field downtown. And so they have everything that attracts you to the downtown area. And so that's what we're trying to do by starting off with the lighting, and then we're going to do some more things on Union, getting that going, and then also looking at some other pocket areas within the downtown area. What can we do in these areas to create more traffic for downtown area? And so, I think probably in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see Union and some of these other streets look like Maine. It'll be that full. Loft apartments probably, retail below. It could be restaurants, it could be whatever. But I think that's what you're going to see downtown. And that's one of the reasons I think that back in 2010-11, when I chose to purchase this facility for our citizens, to hold the integrity and to hold the downtown together. So we had many options going on out, and they'd say, won't you move it on out with the bypass? Won't you move it on out so-and-so, on Red Wolf? Well, let's think about it. This building, in my opinion, is a beautiful building, and it serves all the people here. Right. We put all of our people, a lot of them together, working in this building. But just the aesthetics of this building, I think, has created other people to step up the plate and do a lot of things with these other buildings in downtown. Had we moved out, and we probably got, 50 or 60, 80 people like you and I that come to work here every day.
That's right.
And so that's a pretty good sized number of people.
Yep.
So that's what we want to do, is we want to keep that integrity and keep that I call it a hold on downtown area, so we can keep on branching out and making it even bigger and better as we go. And that's our goal. So that's these trips I've been going on to Greenville, South Carolina. I've been to Springfield, Missouri. Missouri State put $52 million in downtown area. Took an old feed mill, MFA, the old MFA, insurance.
Yeah.
Well, that is a whole incubator for all these young, bright students that's going to school there, that's inventing all these products and stuff. Right. It was amazing. And in some of the old buildings down, it was a warehouse, is now is a huge furniture store. So it was just absolutely gorgeous. And so we want to do that same thing in Jonesboro.
I can guarantee you it's important not to give up on your downtown, because we've got some beautiful, it's not a big downtown, but we've got some beautiful old architecture that just can't be replaced with a new
That's right.
a new building. So,
that's right.
Well, Mayor, thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. I know your schedule's busy, and it's been a good time visiting with us on Let's Talk Jonesboro. Yeah. Follow us on our website, jonesboro.org, and Facebook at City of Jonesboro, Arkansas, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you.